Well, James Gunn has talked a little bit about the future of Ezra Miller and if he could play a place in the new DCU. Let's talk about what he said, why this response is exactly what we would expect, and how important the success of the movie will ultimately be. Well, this week at CinemaCon, we had the world premiere of The Flash, and although the initial reactions weren't as overwhelmingly positive as many people had expected, the movie appears to be pretty good, and a lot of people really did like what they saw from the project. Now, the underlying story with this movie is Ezra Miller, who actually got a lot of praise for his performance in the film, but considering all the stuff going on in his personal life, will he remain on board as the DCU's fastest man alive? Now, to be fair to Miller, he did release a statement taking responsibility for his actions and promising to get help. And what we've heard, he is indeed seeking out the help and therapy that the guy clearly needs during this rather tough phase of his life. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of people who aren't buying it. And for many, Ezra Miller simply crossed too many lines to earn a second chance. And given what's been going on with Jonathan Majors, many people are doubling down on this now, really expecting him to be done as the Flash. Now, recently, at the premiere of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn was directly asked about Miller's future in the role as Barry Allen, and his response was a pretty predictable, "We'll have to wait and see what happens." Now, honestly, you really can't blame Gunn for really not wanting to dive deep into this, as both he and Peter Safran find themselves in an almost impossible position. Miller's behavior was completely unacceptable, and he did a lot of things that would basically have most actors instantly fired. But due to a lot of executive drama at Warner Bros. Discovery, I think that decision was simply kicked down the road, and now that can has stopped directly at James Gunn's feet. Honestly, at the end of the day, if Miller returns from his therapy and not only pledges to do better, but actually is doing better, and The Flash is a massive hit, then my prediction is he might actually stay. Honestly guys, if this movie makes $1 billion, I don't really expect them to recast Miller, although they might put the character on the shelf and simply not use him during Chapter 1, which given the projects we know so far, there has been no mention of The Flash. This would allow Ezra Miller to continue down the path of recovery, and for Warner Bros. Discovery to find out if he's actually walking the path should any other events happen in his life. They can cut ties immediately without a $250 million production hanging in the balance. Now, everybody has an opinion on this, and I'm really curious on what yours is, so give it to me down below. Would you be okay with Miller sticking around as the Flash going forward, or are you in the camp that feels like the guy has simply gone too far, too many times, and it's time to find somebody else for the role? Which way DC ultimately goes, we're gonna have to wait and see.